Welcome back, budget travelers. We were on vacation using our LA Go Card, which included many of the best attractions in Southern California. And today, we find ourselves at Six Flags Magic Mountain. In this video, we will be counting down the best rides at the park. Keep in mind, we were only there for one full day, but nonetheless, we were able to ride all rides on this list at least a couple of times. Let's get started. Counting down the 10th spot, we have Ninja. If you're not the biggest of thrill seekers, I recommend doing this first. It's a great introduction to the terrain and style of suspended roller coasters. It has a great layout and plenty of speed, but nothing too exciting considering the other attractions at the park. But let's save that for later. If you're introducing kiddos into the coaster world, Ninja is a must ride. We did this as our first ride of the day as we took the helpful Honda Express up the mountain and ended up directly across from it. Moving on, we have Batman the Ride. This is a fun B&M inverted roller coaster with a total of 5 inversions. Yes, there are plenty of replicas of this ride across the nation, but still, it never gets boring. It's not too rough, and the speed of the thing is pretty phenomenal. The ride was offered with the trains facing backwards for some time, but we got to enjoy the traditional front-facing way. It's a good size layout and the inversions are so much fun that this ride could for sure be a small park's best ride, no problem. But here at Magic Mountain, it comes in at number 9. The restraints could for sure use an update, but I think my biggest critique of this ride is the queue and the entrance to the ride itself. We were lucky enough to be here on an empty day because I don't think I could have waited in the super hot subway look-alike queue for hours. My recommendation is, if there is a line to the ride, it's just not worth it. Up next, we have Scream. This is a B&M floorless roller coaster on the infamous parking lot of Magic Mountain. This is one of my favorite floorless roller coasters, but it is missing the scenery like Silver Bullet down south at Knott's Berry Farm. Being from Denver, this is my favorite color scheme at the park. The orange and the blue look amazing as you're walking up to it, and it really pops next to the black tarmac. Great ride, just wish they would invest a little more into the landscape and scenery along the ride. Coming in at number 7, we have Superman Escape from Krypton. It features a massive launch backwards, reaching 0 to 100 miles per hour in just over 7 seconds on your way up the 400-foot tower. Then you're launched down the same way you came up, but you're facing the ground as you accelerate. The whole ride itself is over in just over 30 seconds, but once again, you cannot miss this ride when you visit the park. At number 6 is Lex Luthor's Drop of Doom. This is one of the tallest drops in America, but that's all it is. They were running it with virtual reality in the past, but while we were here, it didn't have the VR. Personally, I don't like rides that just drop. I like there to be more to a ride than just a drop. However, the views as you go up are amazing, and you really get a feel for just how much the terrain plays a part in the design of the other rides. Moving on, we have Full Throttle. This is my favorite ride by Premier Rides, and it features a set of launches while making your way into, at one point, the world's longest loop. You make your way through the loop and onto a set of banks and turns right before coming to a stop at the tunnel. It's over? No, it's not. Then you're accelerated backwards before being launched once again and up through the same loop in which you began before briefly falling to a complete stop. I do wish there was a little bit more track to this ride, but overall an amazing launch coaster. It's near the front entrance of the park, so if you can hit this early, I recommend it. Rounding out the top 4 is Goliath, the Giovanola Hypercoaster. This was my first hypercoaster and I was pretty disappointed. Yes, the first drop is amazing, but then it's pretty mundane after that with the exception of the double helix at the end. That was fun. Also, the hang time you get on the back seat is unreal. We rode this in the front, in the third row, and lastly in the back. And the back is really where it's at. It also features a very picturesque front gate, which is a really good first impression. Overall, ride this early, as there can be long lines, but you have to ride it. The third best ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain is X2. Off the back, this is the most insane ride I've ever been on. I've never been on a spinning ride that controls your seat spin to put you in the scariest position possible. The first 200-foot drop is one of the best drops I've ever been on. It's really a shame that there aren't many more rides like X2 in the world. This ride alone would make a trip to Six Flags Magic Mountain worth it. However, it is not perfect. The restraints are awful. It's almost as bad as Viper. I did notice that the inner seats are the way to go, as they're less rough but still awful. And at number 2, Tatsu. This ride is insane, yet very majestic. It's got speed, it has complexity, it has a great terrain layout, and you're flying the whole time. The first time I rode this ride, I was not expecting the pretzel roll to be as intense as it really is. It truly is a one-of-a-kind element in the coaster world, and I wish more had. The flying aspect is really cool, and it gives you a completely new experience. I 100% recommend this ride, and I actually recommend doing it as soon as you make your way up the Honda Express or after doing Ninja. And before we reveal the best ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the New Revolution was closed the day we attended the park, and so was Apocalypse. So that's why they were not mentioned in this video. And now, without further ado, the best roller coaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain is without a doubt Twisted Colossus. This was our first RMC, and I can assure you after this ride, it won't be the last. I've never been on a smoother ride. The restraints are top notch and are super safe. They're lap bars, so they're not over the shoulder restraints, but they keep you super comfortable and safe during what is to be a series of inversions, banks, turns, 90-degree walls, and much more. The ride itself is so much fun that you don't want it to end. Luckily, once you ride the blue track, you do the green track. I haven't ridden it without it dueling, so this number 1 spot is with the 2 trains dueling. That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you are going to be visiting Southern California, click the link above and check out our other Southern California travel videos. If you enjoy roller coasters, subscribe, hit the link above, and join us on more budget adventures.